Stitch number 15 on the Singer Featherweight C240 sewing machine is a built-in satin stitch. So a satin stitch is a zigzag that is really close together. So it's pre-programmed to be really close, and when you pick it, you can see that it's actually even a little bit wide. Let's talk about that for just a second. So at the default setting, it is actually a really wide stitch, keeping in mind that you can adjust the width as you sew to be more, or to adjust it to be where you want it to be. Okay, so I went from 6 all the way down to 3 while I was sewing. So with the variegated thread, really pretty. We could also adjust the stitch length. So if you have a thinner thread, you can bring that down just a hair more and make sure that, you just want to make sure you're not going to pile up, but you can bring those stitches nice and close so they really look nice when you stitch. No gaps in between each of the little stitches. See the, let me show you the difference. So see how much more closer that is, and where you see a little bit of the fabric through the stitches right now. Now, let me show you something else that will really help. We were just doing some blanket stitch applique. So we'll click right up here to that eye in the upper right corner, and you can watch our blanket stitch video that we just did, how to set it up. But one of the things that we do have on the machine, and I highly recommend, is a open toe foot. Now, I know this says FOF, so here's a little trick. For the Singer Featherweight, with the integrated even feed system, that's the part that comes down in the back side, that is what FOF has. So these feet are actually FOF feet that came with your machine, and if you need other accessories, head over to your local FOF store to pick them up, because then you'll get the right ones for this machine. So the open toe foot allows you to see where you're going. There's even little marks or lines to indicate where to guide the fabric. So let's just go ahead. I adjusted this stitch down just a little bit because this particular shape is not a gigantic shape. So if I had a much bigger shape, I could do that wider satin stitch, but that's why I narrowed it down. So this is what it's going to look like when you sew. You do probably want to have the needle stopping in the down position for easy pivoting. And when you get to a point, you just need to go ahead and get all the way to where you want to be. And then go ahead, turn it around, and then keep stitching. I also have the tension reduced at the top here, so I really get to pull those threads to the back side for the best look as we go. So I'm going to stop here, over here, kind of on the far left side, overlap a few stitches as I continue around each of these areas. And isn't the variegated thread kind of fun? So let's just kind of give you a little bit of a look. You're looking for a satin stitch that is in proportion to the shape you're going around. And that's just going to take a little practice to learn where to pivot, what side of the satin stitch to be on when you turn corners or go down and through a little divot here. But just remember, stitch number 15 is your built-in satin stitch.